The Dark Lord. What did you tell him?
Nothing. I swears.
The Lord sent me, his emissary, to oversee matters in person. The creature. Bring it back. Kill it, if need be.
Hey there, and welcome to our first gameplay showcase for The Lord of the Rings Gollum. Today we will unveil when The Lord of the Rings Gollum will be released and show a lot of gameplay directly captured from the game itself. My name is Bernd and I am part of the Dedelic crew that shows you around the game and give you some background story of today's footage. Before we go into the game, let me tell you a little bit about The Lord of the Rings Gollum. The game you will see today is in beta, so you can expect some more publishing in the future builds, especially around movement, camera, controls and graphics. And I want to start with a little more background for you regarding our main character. Gollum is a long-lived creature that knows Middle-earth like no other. He's very agile and strong, so verticality, parkour and secrecy play a role, but we are concentrating on the story, the lore, and especially exploration of parts of Middle-earth that have been hidden to you so far. So The Lord of the Rings Gollum is in that sense an action adventure. Important for us is that we took every effort to be close to the lore without altering it. We took our freedom where we tell untold stories, but never change anything about the existing story. The beauty about Gollum's story is that we can make use of his two personalities leading to moral choices and also connect the dots between the main storyline, showing you what happens in Mordor and other places while they prepare for war. We took great care to show the world how Gollum perceives it, be it characters, enemies, beasts or landscape. The game plays roughly between Gollum leaving the Misty Mountains and ends somewhere around the Fellowship entering Moria. But that's already enough talk. Please look for yourselves. We hope you enjoy your trip to Middle-earth. And thank you for your swords, your bows and your axes. And so I have with me today Demiri, which is the co-author of The Lord of the Rings Gollum. And welcome, Demiri. Nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us in this pre-recorded session today. And please introduce yourself and say a few words about how a typical day of a co-author would look like.
Hi, I'm Demiri. I work in the narrative department. Of course, we have to think about the narrative, but the story. We develop the characters, the side characters, the quests. We think about what kind of materials they use in Barodua and what kinds of materials are not used. A typical day is a question, starting with a question, and I have to do a lot of research. And then usually it has to do with art departments or game design. That's usually what I do. There are some tricky bits where we have to think like, what would the professor do? Because he didn't write about it, or he just gave us some hints. You already said, Bernd, there's a lot that we can rely on, and there's a lot of lore actually that is already present. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, and with that, we can go into the footage itself. So it's the first time ever some gameplay directly captured from the game is shown. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and we will make a few remarks and comments about this very shortly. So please sit back and enjoy while we start. So starting the footage now.
Without me, eyes are marbles, no darkness they see. Faces look garbled, no flurry they feel.
Yes,
Good, some good fish, huh?
Gollum is one of his hideouts. You can see not only fish, but also strange things that he collected. And we start with a riddle. As you all know, Gollum loves riddles, and he's particularly fond of one. That has to do with his story and with the whole
He
game.
responds to some light.
Change of space. Here we are in a different place or a different perspective. Yes, Gandalf. We had to choose a little different design because this is based on the books. So, as you already said, Bernd, the design is also based on the lore, and of course, it's Gollum's perspective of things. Gollum perceives people differently than other people. He perceives the elves as cruel and flashing eyes. He perceives Mordor, the place where we know he went to.
That is the tutorial now, isn't it?
Yes, it's a tutorial. Besides learning our skills and introducing the player to the basic gameplay, we also get the first glimpses of a dangerous and dark place. As you know, Sauron called all the foul beings certain stage to Mordor when he revealed himself, and Gollum, searching for the ring, suddenly changed his direction and went also south. Here we can see Gollum climbing.
Yeah.
He's very strong.
Yeah, he's like really good climber, and I
Yes.
love the view there. You know, these
Yeah.
little huts there from the orcs, I guess. So
Yes, that's an orc camp. We know that the mountains surrounding Mordor are protected, that there are some guards. There are not a lot of ways you can enter, or you can actually go along. Yeah, here are birds. Animals play a very important role in Tolkien's writing. And whatever is Gollum doing there? You'll find out later.
also the
Yes.
footage is not consecutive, so there are cuts in between the footage. So if there's like
Yes.
other stuff coming, that's always like a new part of the gameplay to show.
It's more like a
being shown.
teaser footage. That's a
Indeed.
beetle. It's a beetle. You can see Gollum sort of hunting for it. He's also mesmerized by it. He has this, as you said, there's two parts of him. The one that still reconnects to nature. We know that once he left the Misty Mountains, he also got stronger and, so to say, back to life. And you can actually choose how he behaves, which side of him gets the stronger development. And that's quite important for the story. You literally decide who's going to live and who's going to die. And it's also going to bring you into troubles.
Yeah, and that's one of the parts where Gollum needs to be very stealthily
Yes.
to not get caught.
Fans will maybe recognize a little bit of this part. Not this part exactly, but later on. You all have heard of the Cirith Ungol, the spider cleft. And yes, you have to be careful, you have to sneak around. You can sometimes also fight opponents, but they, as we know from the Misty Mountains, he sometimes throttled an orc, but small ones and not heavy soldiers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here you get a little bit impression of the style that we chose to represent Mordor. Of course, it's cruel and there are a lot of sharp
I
edges.
love the design. I really love it.
Yeah, I also love it. We have a very, very good artist, a good art department. With a hell of a work. Yeah. Some spider webs.
Yeah, I wonder what these webs are. I wonder where these webs come from. Huh? Who is
Yes.
doing these kind of... another orc patrol?
Yeah, that's the patrol. We are following them because we are afraid that they might reveal something. Gollum is constantly, so to say, on the run. Nobody really loves him.
No.
He needs to love himself. But he also, the Smeagol side, tries to find friends. And he finds friends, depending on your choices. Good and strong friends to help him out because he can never do it alone. He's too small. But just as Bilbo in The Hobbit and Frodo in The Lord of the Rings, he's a small creature, ancestor of the hobbits. And that's good because he can hide. Like here, he can sneak around. Nobody is really interested in him. And that gives us the possibility to show things. And Gollum can enter almost every place. I mean, he's one of those creatures that saw the Dark Lord and still lives.
So what's happening now? So he's like making it dark for the orc so he can't see, and then...
Yes.
Oops.
Yes, that's a trick. He can throw things, he can... he can climb, he can even swim. He's a good waterman. And we just knocked out a candle, knocked out some light.
Oops, who's that?
Yeah, who might that be? Yes, we know of his fascination with...
Another famous character right there.
Yes, actually a pretty... if you think about it, these fell beasts, which were mentioned in The Lord of the Rings, must have grown before. Sauron must have raised them. And we decided to show them inside of Mordor, but not outside because he's keeping them back for his war. But Gollum being there, he makes another bad experience.
Getting captured again.
Yes. So we already know he will enter Barodua, and too sad. There's a sort of frame story, a little story to when Gandalf actually questions him. We know that from The Lord of the Rings that he actually did. He mentions to Frodo, and he also mentioned that it was very difficult to get anything out of Gollum, so that gives us some freedom to interpret this.
Yeah,
and to leave
that's cool.
The player the
I love
the
how
choice.
you all do all these little nuances.
Yeah.
And now, since you were talking about, looking for stuff, so this is inside Mordor, right?
This is inside Barodua even. As you can see, Gollum now is not hunted anymore. He's a prisoner. But being very clever and slimy and knowledgeable, he also knows how to manipulate people, and he very soon gets the hang of it. Again, depending on how you play him. And we get to see one of the more like central rooms and chambers of the more powerful people.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's it looks like I love how you made Barodua rather cultivated, I must say.
It's quite a huge place, and you must also think, or you have to realize that Sauron cannot just like do it all alone. He needs a clockwork to do his orders, and cultists and people who really... Yeah, that's a very interesting picture.
I love that.
If you understand what this is about. Yeah, it has something to do with one of the central characters in Barodua, which is a sort of spy master. Of course, Sauron needs to gather information. We know that he has some birds on his side, and one of these spy masters is called the Candle Man, for reasons you can imagine or you can think of yourself. Of course, he's torturing people, and he's trying to he
needs the candle to bring some light into the situation, of course.
Yes, this is a very dark part of Sauron. Sauron also has a light. He's also talking about light. Maybe from Moria, this flame of Udun, Gandalf calls the Balrog. And we know that Morgoth also looked for light and has a sort of his own light, but it's not a very nice light is more like a very
I like
cool...
the map. I think I remember where this is.
Yeah, Gollum sometimes gets these little glimpses of what people do, and we inserted the map here in the big map room because we thought, from time to time, maybe the spy master also wants to have a look at where are the troops, where do we have to stand.
I love this war room look it has. So I like that. And we just missed the this nice artwork of Barodua, the tower with the eye. So there's like lots of stuff in the game like that. So
of course we had to make some compromises. Sometimes you just saw these vertical lines, white vertical lines. They are usually a little bit a hint for the player where he can climb, so we inserted a few. We worked with the lighting and so on to help the player looking for the right places. And Gollum also has a special skill. We call this a Gollum sense. So if you can activate that, you can also, it helps you finding your way around.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and these dark corners, again, it's not like final quality, but you can hide.
Okay, that's another jump to another scene. Gollum actually gets to hatch his own little bird. And it's very nice. Again, although he's in Barodua and he needs his Gollum side, Smeagol also is important. And in creating or hatching and protecting this little being, this side of him actually is reactivated. And this bird plays a very important role. So again, it's important how you actually deal with it. And here we can see the spy master, the Candleman, talking about his past. Of course, as we know, that many men also joined the Dark Lord, even some of the Numenors, and so he is sort of thinking about his past, his people, where he came from.
Amazing. I love that. I love the scene.
Again, as Gollum, you get to know a lot, and you can again use that for your advantage if you're clever.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
The Candleman also has a daughter. I don't know whether we'll see it.
Let's see.
I don't know whether she comes in here, but she's a very strong believer in Sauron. Oh. Yes.
I love you did that.
See at whom he will shoot. You probably know this king. Yeah. And there's a famous story about the kings of Gondor, and yes. And, his place on his past and his problems. He's not such a strong believer as his daughter. And again, Gollum can use that.
Yeah, it's great that it's not like simple characters all the way.
You don't have to be a hardcore fan to play this, to know this. It will be all explained and
but now to some more nicer realms.
Yes, that's another central part of Gollum's journey, Gollum's quest.
Very beautiful as well.
The halls of the Elven King, the Elven Kingdom, we call it, in Mirkwood. As we know that they should have kept him. And we know
the story
from the Council of Elrond.
And we show how it's happening.
Yes, we know from the Council of Elrond that he actually entered, that they actually watched him, and that he sort of escaped. But we made a quite interesting story out of it. It's just not all to it, because of course you also wonder how on earth did he manage. And you can already see that the elves, after some time, at the beginning, they are quite hostile and sometimes also just talk in.
Yeah, he has again like only enemies against him, right?
Yes, and but after a while they try to make him more comfortable and leave him a bit more space. And Gollum, of course, uses that opportunity.
So we
we can also collect food because we need something, especially fish. To regain our vitality.
Yeah, the good
We
fish.
can get hurt. We can also die in the game. So then we have some spots where you can Go back to some saving spots. Yeah, be careful of those lamps. That's not such a good idea.
Yeah, I was lucky.
And
He
the
was
elves
looking
have
the other way, so when I played it, it's like, okay, just hit him there, and like find my way around it. So
yeah, you could have hit this
this container there,
thingy.
right?
Yeah. That was
So, but it works that way too. So
yes, there are many
approved.
ways. You can also sneak. You can hide. You can climb. You can choose your ways. You should also listen carefully to what people say. So if you hide a bit behind those boxes and just
especially
listen to
here,
her.
I like how she's like preparations for the party and for the great feast. And so there I try to like maybe hit her too, but then I try to like let's be a little bit more bold.
You saw this shadowy bit. That's a place where you can hide very well.
Yeah. So I got her attention there, but I was quick enough to go away and was lucky there as well. So no.
Yeah, actually, you can't really kill elves because they very soon spot you. So you have to be more careful, especially if you're doing things you're not supposed to do, like now.
So you're a little bit further in the level, like you have several possibilities there, like go more the stealth route, or there's another route where you can do more parkour and like wall runs and stuff like that. So, but here I chose to go rather stealthy way, a little bit like going around or waiting till they look the other way.
Yes, there are some guards here. They actually are not necessarily looking for Gollum, but as you know, the Elven King has a very well defended castle or caves. Realm and for his people, and of course he has very capable soldiers and fighters, but as the elves love it, they usually prepare a feast or party or whatever. So they're not that, as you can see, they're also not that attentive or dangerous.
Yeah, so taking care of Gollum. So this is now like a part where there's a little bit more jumping, like for a short time now.
Yeah, more like a parkour area. We can see
really steep and like deep below.
Yeah, Gollum of course tries to find a way out. Is not so easy as he thought. And you have this is quite far in the game, so you already know how to do all those climbing.
And this is the Elven Palace, the Thranduil's Palace from outside.
Yeah. Yes, very nice design. Of course, it's quite big. Yeah. So again, Gollum is very strong, very tough. He tries to get past it. Yes, and it's very beautiful. Also, sometimes you get these spots where you can look far out into the surrounding. We can see famous and sites of Middle Earth, of course, in our interpretation. But from time to time we get also these high spots where we can, of course, if we're doing the parkour thing, we need that to, especially if we have some enemies around, to know where we should be going.
How does fish get
And all of a sudden, up there is a fish. And he gets caught again.
Yes, Gollum really has a hard time, and you as a player have to think quite fast. But you get hints. Yeah, here you got caught again. These elves will just bring you straight back.
Yeah, exactly. So I love what's happening here. Because we meet someone from before.
Yes. As I already said, this is the bird, a bit grown, as you can see. Of course, Soren uses dark magic and terrible practices to make things to grow faster and stuff like that. But that particular bird is quite useful.
Okay. And you can like breed different ones. So that was the footage so far. And And I hope you guys liked it a lot. So, but we are not done yet. We have, of course, a few questions. We know most of you people want to ask, so we go about that. So, Damiri, one question which is like kind of the elephant in the room. What do you think? Why did you guys choose to tell the story of Gollum?
Yes, I said before that, like Bilbo in The Hobbit or Frodo in The Lord of the Rings, Gollum is not the kind of superhero. He's not a wizard or a sword-wielding Dunedain. He's small, he's clever, and just like we experienced the story from the point of view of an ordinary person in Bilbo, and later with his nephew Frodo, who already knows a little bit about elves and so on from his uncle. With Gollum, we have the same possibility. We have a person that's quite tough, strong. Of course, it's a torn soul, but he has the possibility to experience this world of riddles and magic and wonder. And we, as a player, as well. So we get this kind of perspective, which was quite useful. In the beginning, we also thought, like, okay, is Gollum a good choice? Let's see. He has also a lot of skills. Like Aragorn says, he's a good woodsman, a good waterman. And that's actually very helpful in the game. As you could see, it's a sort of epic adventure game with stealth elements. So it enabled us to tell the story from the perspective of a person who doesn't really know everything about Middle-earth, and also to, because he traveled places everywhere. He can enter Mordor. I mean, with an elf warrior, yeah, good luck. So yeah, he can go to places. We can show a lot, and also the time frame is quite good, because after leaving the Misty Mountains until he follows the company in Moria, it leaves us roughly 70 years. And what has Gollum been doing all this time? And of course, we know from Gandalf and also by Gollum himself later on when he travels with Sam and Frodo, we know a bit. And but some of these
here and there,
yeah, but some of Gandalf's assumptions are guesses. And of course, Tolkien also writes in his letters and other books about him. But yeah, we had some leeway here, and we connected that with the story that that Tolkien wrote in The Lord of the Rings, and with Gollum as with Gollum's story.
Yeah, but that's cool. So we are like Gollum is usually a rather mean character at some point. At least sometimes you think he's just a very mean person. But you know, is it really like that? What do you think about Gollum being a nasty creature?
Yes, of course, some of the fans were not so pleased and said, oh, why you take this creature? And as Sam said, he is a slinker or a stinker. So that's a hard start. Yeah. But actually, Gollum also has a heart, and he has his own backstory. And after a while, we found out that this we made him also a bit cuter. So as you might have noticed, because we have to look at him all the time. But after a while, we can see that that's actually an advantage, and we can also take this Smeagol and Gollum sides of him. There's these two personalities. One that's tortured by the ring, but strong and tough, and the other one that wants to have friends and actually remembers his past life. We could use that to tell a very good story. And as you know, Tolkien himself, one of his first recordings, or of the early recordings at the BBC, he actually read the passage with Bilbo and Gollum. So it's quite an important character. And also for other reasons, he's not that nasty and he's not that evil. And he's definitely against Sauron. So yeah, which is, it sort of makes him maybe not a real big hero, but who is?
Yeah, indeed. So it's not always like the big heroes that make for the best stories in my mind, but more like coming to another topic we shortly already touched upon, and that is where the game is happening in the whole storyline of the Lord of the Rings and the world of Middle Earth. So how does the Lord of the Rings Gollum fit into the story of the books? Maybe you can shed some light on that
Yeah,
too, please.
I already said something about that. It fits very nicely. Just between the spaces, we have the license for the book, so we have to stick to the Lord of the Rings, the story of the book. But our story also takes part in places that we know, already from The Hobbit, like the Mirkwood, the realm of the elves. It also takes place in parts that have never been visited, because, as I said before, if you would be a Dunedain and be caught in Mordor, probably you would be dead. But Gollum makes it, and we can show places that only he saw, and now the player gets to see them. And yes, also the world, Middle Earth itself, is sort of very important asset of the game. So we also see Middle Earth in a version that Gollum perceives it. And this world and the whole legendarium behind it plays a major role in the story, as well as Gollum himself.
Cool, but is there so coming more to the game itself? Is the game related to other Lord of the Rings games, or is it a standalone title?
No, not so far that I know. There's, I think, no relation. Of course, there are parts of the game or parts of the story, because of course we all base our stories, even the movies of Peter Jackson, they are based on the books. So yes, you will maybe know other interpretations, for example, of Shelob, which I personally don't like so much, but our interpretation is really
you
nice.
are a secret. You are a spy master yourself. You're a very secret person.
Yeah.
When it comes to infos about the game, so
but
okay. That's
yeah.
more reason to play it, and not. It's good to not have.
Yeah,
Spoilers,
in
right?
our game, the interpretation, of course, is very closely to Tolkien's ideas and visions of her.
Yes.
And as you know, she is a spawn of the big evil spiders that come in other tales.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And
Can't say
one
more.
last big. So two questions left, and the one last more for game. One question more about gameplay, and the last question we will finally answer when the game will be coming out. So but first of all, so we have seen that Gollum do all these tricks with the elven guards and throwing rocks, and can you tell us a little bit about what other tricks Gollum has in store to survive in this harsh world?
Yeah, we also had a short talk about that in the beginning of the video. Yes. So, first question is, can he actually force his way through? Answer is no. So you have to be on your toes. You have to climb, sneak around, hide in shadows. From time to time, you can take down an easy opponent. You can trick them. And you are a very observant creature. So you can, if you watch carefully, if you take your chances, if you hide and watch people, you can manipulate them. And you're quite a crafty and clever little person.
All right.
Yes, so you're a great swimmer, as I said before. You're a good waterman, good woodsman. So we can all use the skills that Gollum has to make him survive.
So I really enjoyed that. All these little things you did. So I was an avid reader, or am still from time to time still reading the books. So also, but especially, I'm so happy that you guys didn't alter too much of or maybe or even nothing of the story itself, and just took your
from time to
leeway.
time. I mean, this is a video game, so of course we had to do things a bit different since it's a game. But all in all, we were quite. We strongly believe in Professor Tolkien's vision, and we try to transport this feeling. But at the same time, there are some elements that we developed along the lines that he thought, and with his little snippets and ideas he gave us. Yeah.
Yeah. So all the Lord of the Rings fans are about to experience a really nice story in this world, in Middle Earth. So things will see things that they have never seen before, and that have not been told before, and also see places where things are being built that are used in, for example, the Great War. So stuff like that. Not telling you more and spoil too much, but there's this has not been shown today, but there needs to be some other stuff revealed at some later time for you to enjoy. So this nearly brings us to the end of our little presentation. Now the question is basically, when will the game be available, and on what platforms? Damir,
Yes,
can you
Ben.
tell us?
Oh, I ask you.
You ask me. That's fine. So I will. I
When
will
will
do
it be
that.
revealed?
Good. So the Lord of the Rings Gollum will be available on May 25th. 2023, so this year, not far away, and it will be available on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC. A Switch version will also be available, but sometime later. So 25th of May is the date where you can play for yourselves, and stay with us, follow us on our social channels, and lordoftheringsgame.com, so the gollumgame.com, sorry, and other places you can get all the new stuff, new infos and everything, and also check out the latest Nakon story trailer from our partners Naken. So that's really something. If you've missed out on that, you should really see that as well. So, Damiri, that's it for today. We will surely do something like this in some time again, and thank you very much. That was like really
You're
amazing
welcome.
deep dive. I know there's more, and
Yes.
I will ask for that at some point later. Thanks so much, everybody, and have a great day, good night, wherever you are, and talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Cheerio.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.